Yeah.
Welcome to the big show, everybody. It's another episode of the Savage Patriots. We are without Senor Lee today. He had to work. He need make money, so he no here. We make sure he no here because he no make no money. He get very broke.
That's so messed up.
He's so very broke. He need money. Okay, so we send him away to get some cash.
Oh, you're gonna be Jay today?
I be racist today. So in any case,
White
we'll be
adjacent.
talking about House Bill 4474.
Mhm.
Um, we'll break it down, and you can decide if we are wrong in our interpretation of it or if we're right, and if we're just being overly knee jerk reactive. Okay, we'll be right back. Well, House Bill, man, you know, I think we ought to bring up this first. I think we need to bring up what they are trying to tell us it is. Then we'll talk about what it actually is. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, anytime people have to run interference or cover or, try and make you think that it's not saying, put your
What it's
thinking
saying?
cap on and realize that they're trying to tell you something that you see it, but they're trying to tell you you don't see it. Okay. So this is what they say. This is from Click on Detroit. Hate crime bill approved by Michigan House wouldn't criminalize incorrect pronoun use. Before we go on, how many of you believe that?
I don't.
Oh,
That's the
I definitely don't.
that's
I
the first
don't.
question. How many of you believe that? For it, they're already starting to lie right off here.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Only some speech
Only
would qualify.
It's that much, just a smidget.
Tiny bit.
Just a
Only
tiny.
some.
that's good stuff. Like it would not criminalize incorrect pronoun use. Only
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 some
some.
things.
But the question is, how dumb do they think some of us are? They don't think
Very.
we're gonna find the bill and dig into it because
They won't.
majority Americans won't. But they're Americans like us, the savage patriots. They're gonna find a bill, look at it, and dig into it and see if they're lying.
Why you always lie?
I always
The
lying.
funniest thing about this bill when we go to read it is the fact that this isn't even the first iteration of the bill. You'll actually see some of the things that they marked out on the bill that just got passed in the House.
And made it worse. What they took out made it exponentially worse. It didn't even make it better. It made the bill horrendously worse. Like they had the hole, and then they dug another hole next to it, and then they carved out the space in between the holes, so it's a one
Mm-hmm.
large hole. That's all. They
Yep.
did. All right, so let's see what they tell us to believe. The new legislation that would expand. I can't even read this thing straight. The new legislation that would expand Michigan's crime law. I don't know how exact. Maybe it's the same thing as assault weapon. I can't make sense of it. To include protections for the LGBTQ plus community would not make it a felony to address a person by the wrong pronouns.
Mm.
The word pronoun does not even appear in the bill, which was recently passed by the Michigan House. Critics claim that since House Bill 4474 lists intimidation under the list of prohibited acts, someone could potentially be charged with a felony for using the wrong gender pronouns. It is
Mm.
not likely, because here's what they have to do. They have to make sure they don't outright say you can't. They can't get sued for saying they didn't say that. Okay. It is
Right.
not
Allegedly.
likely at all, and not that cut and dry, experts say, but still, those claims have spread across the internet. The preferred pronoun is how someone likes to be referred to when not using their exact names. Examples of pronouns include he, him, his, she, her, hers, and non-gendered and binary pronouns that are gender specific. It can't be
Mm.
gender specific if there's no such thing as gender. Um, like they, them.
I thought gender was fluid.
It kind of like their brain function.
Yeah.
So
fluid.
nowhere in the bill does it explicitly criminalize the use of incorrect pronouns.
Now the question is,
Mhm.
how would you enforce this? Like, if I go up to somebody that's in a dress and it looks like a dude, I'm gonna just say it's a dude in a dress. You know, so how would you know, or how would you know? How would they? If you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? How would you?
Yeah.
Like, if I go up to somebody and say, "What's up, dude?" That's normal terminology where I'm from. Everybody's dude.
Dude and man are gender neutral.
Would I get charged with something? You know, that's the question.
It depends on if you sing it. Now, if you're saying, I'm a dude, you're a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes, and you're fine.
You remember that song? I don't. It's not getting off topic. It relates. I think it was by BB King back in the day called "My Ding-a-Ling." You remember that? You got to look it up.
Oh yeah,
it's called "My
Ding." I remember that one.
Yeah. Oh,
you can't sing that today because you could because everybody's got one now.
No, you got Rodney Carrington too with Dear Penis. You know, it's like that. Apparently, that's what goes in there. Is I don't like you anymore. And then
now the question is, everyone or no one can sing that song anymore because it's not specific to a gender. Okay, even women can have those now. But however, I want you guys to remember what they said in their explanation of the bill. You notice that they also never say go back and read the bill. They just trying to tell you what's in the bill. Because they don't want to encourage you to go read. Because if you go read, you might see this. All right, you might see the bill
itself. And here's the thing: a lot of them didn't read the bill. You know, you got a lot of these, mental midgets up here that are supposedly in charge, and they just pull a Dianne Feinstein.
Huh?
Yeah. Huh? What?
I'm just supposed to say I. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to read that bill. I.
Okay.
Is it LBGTQ? I don't care what's in it.
IA plus. IA.
IA plus.
What does it mean?
So here's what it says: the actual bill. Yeah. A person is guilty, and look at what they
look at what they crossed out. Isn't it? I'll read it for you. A person is guilty of, and then it goes redacted. Ethnic intimidation is the first thing that's crossed out, and then and with specific intent to intimidate or harass other persons that of a person's race, color, religion, gender, national origin, and does any of the following, and then it lists all the following that's been redacted.
Okay. Now they replaced all of that with hate crime.
Yeah, with a
person is guilty of a hate crime if the person maliciously
gets rid of all of that other information,
right, and intentionally does any of the following to an individual based in whole or in part on an actual or perceived characteristic of that individuals listed under subsection 2, regardless of the existence of any other motivating factors.
I want to dive in on that one, which is perceived characteristics. Perceived. Why perceived? You're a dick. So that's all it's going to take, right? Is like, I have the perception that you have done X, Y, and Z. Everybody's perception is stupid because you can't trust your eyes sometimes. Like, the fact that we rely on witness testimony to send people to prison is insane because memory isn't perfect. We remember things incorrectly all the time. And so my perception is flawed from the get-go. So your perception that somebody has offended you is based off of a lot of factors that can't be proven. So
however, if Neil Tyson deGrasse is correct, you won't be able to use science to prove anything either.
Nope. Everything's
because it's fluid, just like when you wake up. So,
and based off this, like Coy said, who determines if it's a hate crime or hate speech? Like, what's hateful to you, a word, may not be hateful to me. So does the innocent bystander have to be standing there, be like, she called him a she, and he's a he? And I'll be like, I'm not offended. I don't care what they call me. I know what I am. So who determines it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The offended one.
Yep, exactly.
There
It's
you
gonna be
go.
a whole lot of Gen
And
Z.
especially with all these neo-pronouns, it's going to be impossible for some, like, there's just trolls out there that are just going to cause crap for no reason. That's what this is really going to come down to. Is like they're going to test the limits of this law right away. I can guarantee you someone is going to walk into their office and go, "I'm Glorbo and Glorbess, and you have to address me as such." Right?
I have a question though. Does anybody know if there was any riots in Michigan?
No, I don't know. Not off the
Mm-hmm.
top of my head.
I know
Because
that governor.
I think that I'm pretty sure there were.
There might
But
have
hear
been,
me
but
out.
there's also shootings all the time too.
So hear me out. Let's read the redacted portion, and just what there's something specific. As Coy said, race, origin, color, gender, religion, national origin, or any of the
Ye-
following causes physical contact with another person. That's just
Mhm.
brushing on them.
Yep.
Damages, destroys, or defaces any real or personal property of another person. So, like when they grab your sign,
Or flag.
threatens by word or act to do an act described in subdivision A or B, if there is reasonable cause to believe that that an act described in subdivision A or B will occur.
Mhm.
You just have to believe that what they're going to do is going to happen. Okay. Now they cut that out. For what
Mhm.
purpose? You'll find
Too
out here.
broad.
And intentionally does any of the following to an individual based on whole or in part on an actual or perceived characteristic of that individual listed under subsection 2, regardless of the existence of any other motivating factor, even if they were to hit you first, even if they were to call you outside your name, any retaliation to what they do, you're wrong.
Mm.
I just want to make sure we made that clear
Mhm.
because that's very vital. Uses force or violence on another individual. Left does it all the time. Causes bodily injury to another individual. Intimidates. This is the big one. Intimidates another individual.
Still perception. What intimidates one person doesn't intimidate another.
That's right.
So wait.
Now, before you go on, so this
Hmm.
is crazy that we're talking about this right now because I had a friend from Canada and she's Republican and she reached out to me on Instagram. And this is exactly what Canada does.
Yeah.
She's saying someone broke in her house, pretty much baby
was
daddy
C11.
mama, whatever drama. She pushed her way into the house, the mom. She had got into a tussle with the dad, her husband, the girl's husband. She's sitting there watching, trying to get this chick off, and they were scared to do anything because they were afraid to get arrested, even though she forced her way. So this is pretty much the same thing. Somebody can break in my house right now. If I, drop their behind, or punch them or hit them or cause any bodily harm like it states here, I'm going to jail. So
Period.
I should just sit there and let them do what they want to me.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm going to jail. There.
There's another thing I'd like to point out in the upper section where they were talking about the race,
Here?
religion, and all that. Yeah. Race, religion. You know how you always, when you see these kind of civil rights type bills, right? They never mention political ideology is not protected, right? Because it was supposed to be covered under the First Amendment. But in today's society, that needs to be put in the bill in the same way. If you're going to say all these other things, then political ideology should be up there too. Because we already know that the left loves to discriminate based on political ideology. Absolutely.
It's funny. I
Yeah.
find it funny for this one reason. If I walk past people and they feel intimidated because of how I'm dressed or I'm dressed, that's intimidating you. If I have the flag, intimidation, it is based on what the person
MAGA hat.
is. Now, if I'm offended by you in drag, that doesn't count.
No.
Even
'Cause
though
you're
you
discriminating.
are offending my religion.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. That's why they cross this out so they could make it specific to LGBTQ LMNOP.
Yeah.
Damages,
God forbid.
destroys, defaces any real, and they still have it. That's a weird thing. It's in here. It's still here. So they put it back here. Damages, destroys, deface any real, personal, digital. Just listen. Listen. I want to know how you damage, destroy, or deface anything digital.
Oh, I got it. It's
Hacking?
No, not hacking. It's going to be photoshopping or memeing. That's going to be a crime.
Memes will fall under this.
Yeah,
Wow.
because if I take your image and I go, look at this X, Y, and Z person and make fun of them, then they can say they were intimidated because they were online harassment and they were objectifying me in a certain way. That's the argument that a lawyer could make.
Yep. Memes are going to fall under this. Any use of any of them, and they consider that damaging, you're in problems, without the consent of that individual.
Right. Taking a photo and memeing it.
Okay.
But
Threatens by word or act to do any of the action described under subdivisions A and B, and the actual or perceived characteristics of another individual references under subsection 1 include all of the following: race and color, religion, sex, sexual orientation. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this religion thing only has to do with anything but Christian, just so you know.
Yeah.
Sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, physical or mental disability.
Damn.
Age, ethnicity, national origin, association or affiliation with an individual or group of individuals in whole or in part based on a characteristic described under subdivision A.
Wow. Now back to like making memes of people. So on social media, aren't pictures really like public information if they put it on a public platform?
I thought so.
Well, it depends, because you can make the argument of fair use depending on what kind of commentary, but it also comes down to if they were a public or a private individual. So if you're a public individual, they make the claim all the time that you're a public individual, therefore they have right to free use of your image, right?
But
unless they're making money off of your image, then it's a copyright infringement, and that's a totally different scenario. But if I take your picture and use it and make fun of you, that can still be protected under the First Amendment free speech. This whole bill is a argument against the First Amendment. It's unconstitutional completely. They can't police speech like that and not expect it to get a fight, but that's not the point. The point is they can make it, and then they have to go through the courts in order to strike it down, and then they could just make another one in a different fashion. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but my point is that for social media, we have options, right? You can either make your profile private or you can make your profile public. Now, if you make it public, there's always that chance of somebody pulling photos and doing whatever they want with them. So how would, shouldn't option be, hey, keep your profile private? Because if you make it public,
no.
They have two different variations of public is the problem.
Yeah.
And so what they're going to start to, and trust me on this, is what they're going to do. You're going to hear them start saying there's difference between a public known and public unknown. If you're a public figure and everybody knows you, it's fair game. If you're public with your stuff and nobody knows you, it's intimidation.
Yeah, but you can also be forced into being a public person. Look how they treated Kyle Rittenhouse, for instance.
Yeah.
So he was a private individual that was forced into public fame because of what happened. That's how lawyers argue. Okay.
Hey, look, all I could hear is Ron White. I was drunk in the bar. They threw me into public.
Yeah.
This is like
I was in the bar.
This is like communist light, pretty much. This is something Mao, Stalin,
we are beyond communist light, man.
Yeah, this is something they would do. And maybe this is just like a test, because this is almost like a social credit score, right? You can bet your bottom that government is going to be monitoring everyone's social media, because that's the only way they can really track it. They would have to actually monitor it.
Well, it's not unheard of. I mean, that's what England does, right? You can get arrested for saying certain things on the internet.
Yeah.
And they'll come to your house and arrest you. It's like, is your username X, Y, and Z? Yeah. Well, you posted something against X, Y, and Z acts, so you're going to have to go to jail. I mean, they do that. You see videos all the time coming out of England of people like just retweeting a meme or something,
Yeah.
right? And then getting arrested for it because it goes
It's-
against their policies, which are exactly like this, an exact
Yeah.
policy like this.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And this, I don't see how anyone would take this seriously. And if they do, they have some serious mental issues or they have some serious self-esteem issues if they need this to protect them from words.
We're talking about Gretchen Whitmer now. Okay, just remember that.
Yeah. Stretch
Ethnic
face.
intimidation. They struck that out to put, except as provided in subsection 4, a person who violates subsection 1 is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 2 years. Words, people, we're talking about words and pictures. They're adding words and pictures in the same bracket as bodily harm. This is what we want you to make sure you ruminate in your mind, that they're grouping persons offended by words the same as people being harmed physically. Okay, 2 years, or a fine not more than 5K, or both. If any of the following conditions apply, a person who violates subsection 1 is guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment for not more than 5 years.
Jeez.
Or by a fine of not more than 10,000, or both. The violation results in bodily injury. The person has one or more prior convictions for violating subsection 1, and that does not have to be bodily injury. The victim of the violation of subsection 1 is less than 18 years of age, or the offender is at least 19 years of age. The person commits the violation of subsection 1 in concert with one or more other individuals. The person is in possession of a firearm during the commission of the violation of the subsection. It doesn't have to present it. They just have to be in possession. You can have the right to have it, but if they deem you being able to have it and being a problem, they can now include the fact that you had a weapon.
Oh, look, a Second Amendment violation.
If the prosecuting attorney intends to seek an enhanced sentence based upon the defendant having one or more prior convictions under subsection 4B, the prosecuting attorney shall include on the complaint and information a statement listing the prior conviction or conviction. The existence of the defendant's prior conviction or conviction must be determined by the court without a jury. Key. This is very key.
Oh, hey.
Without a jury at sentencing or at a separate hearing for that purpose before sentencing. The existence of a prior conviction may be established by any evidence relevant for that purpose, including but not limited to one of the following: a copy of the judgment, transcript of the prior trial, plea taking, and sentencing, information contained in a pre-sentence report, the defendant's statements in lieu of or in addition to the penalties described in subsection 3. The court may, if the defendant consents, impose an alternate sentence described under the subsection. In determination of the suitability of an alternate sentence described under this subsection, the court shall consider the criminal history of the defender and impact the offense on the victim and wider community.
Now imagine imagine being in prison, right? You're in a big house. You're shackled up. You're in a day room or something. Like, hey, man, what you in for? Man, I called some dude a chick. I called a chick a dude. Imagine being in prison for that, and they're looking at you like, what? Yeah, I got 5 years, man, because there was some dude dressed up like a chick, and I called him a dude, and they arrested me for it. But back to the point about no jury. Isn't there something on in the Constitution that talks about a trial by jury of your peers?
No, of course not.
No, okay.
No.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure.
I need to verify what channel because could get us struck. So let me know.
Yeah, it's from Talk TV on.
Is it a news source?
Yeah, it's a news source.
Okay, good. Okay, that's all I need to know. As long as
yeah, this is what I was talking about with England about a dude getting arrested. So like the story behind this is like this is actually a veteran in England getting arrested for a hate crime, right?
Wow.
Can you just remind me again why I'm being arrested? You're under arrest, section 127 of the Communications Act 2003. You do not say anything that may harm the defence. You do not mention when questions like which later are in court. You do say may be given evidence. The necessities for your arrest are for a prompt and effective investigation.
Can I just add as well? You know, when they post when that image was there, below it was about 20 or 30 similar swastikas made up of Union Jacks. They line them all up the same way, yeah. But none of them are being investigated.
Guys, one day, if you haven't already.
They took me to Basingstoke police station, put me in a custody cell. One copper watched over me, then another one came in. They said I'd be processed by the desk sergeant. Then probably after an hour or two, he came in and he said, he gave me an option. He said, you can either agree to talk to us now, at an arranged date, and we'll release you, or you have to stay overnight, wait till your lawyer turns up, and we'll question you anyway. Honestly, I was thinking, is it 1939? Is this the Gestapo? Literally, yeah. You know, I thought, what am I here for? This is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so like he got arrested literally for a meme. That whole thing was just over a LGBT meme, and he got arrested for that. How
you guys
insane.
know Carpe Doctum, right? You know Carpe Doctum?
Yeah, I know Carpe Doctum.
Mr. Meme King himself.
Mm-hmm. He got arrested for something similar.
Yeah, he'll be the first. He'll be the first to have to pay that fine. I'm guaranteeing you.
No, he already did. He already got charged.
He did,
and yeah, that was a couple of years ago. He got charged in.
Oh, I remember that. I'm talking about new, but they that's already.
New
passed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But here, you know, they've been gearing us up for this. You know, they always, on the left, they always use this terminology about like words are dangerous, words cause violence, words, you know, this, that, and this. So they've been gearing up for this, man, for a couple years now. And I think this Michigan is the test. It's the test ground for it. Yeah. Because if Michigan can pass it and it's effective, you better bet your bottom dollar that every other blue state and maybe some red states are going to pass the same stuff.
And here's something I wanted to bring up, Marlon, just a reminder of what this actually violates. I brought the annotated Constitution to review for this because I want to point out which amendments these specifically violate. You know, obviously the first one being the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. So the first one is that speech in the United States has always been that you can say what you want, even if it's stupid, even if it's mean. Because there was a point in time where they even protected the KKK from holding their rallies, even though everybody hated it, because we understood that the First Amendment was something that needed to be protected. And once you started getting rid of it, things only go downhill from there. Mm-hmm. Right. And people aren't really understanding this.
So here's a question. Let's go back to the KKK real quick for a quick little. If prison time is given for certain types of speech, okay, and they don't specify Black, Asian, they just said race.
Yep.
Can people like the Black Panther and BLM be held to the same standard?
Yes. But Black Hebrew Israelites would probably be the first ones. If you really want to break it down.
Well, no, they wouldn't, because you know what's been pushed in the brain of the Black community, that Black people can't be racist; they only can be prejudiced. So notice nowhere in there it says prejudice, right? It doesn't say prejudice in there because they've changed the definition of racism. Even though prejudice falls under racism, it's the same dang thing. I said, dang, it's the same thing. But they've been pushing it so much that they didn't even place that word in the bill, because if they place it in the bill, Black people, Black Panthers, BLM could be held accountable too. So this just gives them free reign to say what they want to so-called white people without any repercussions.
It would still happen because you can only have so many white supremacists to go after. It's just there's not as many as you think there are. So like eventually they'll run out of them. And
It's
it'll
very,
just like,
very.
it probably won't be them. What it will be is Black conservatives that'll probably be the first ones, right? Nobody will complain because it'll be fine. They're conservatives. Who cares?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Now hear this little ending here real quick. This is crazy. Regardless of the existence or outcome of any criminal prosecution, you could get found innocent.
Yep.
That you didn't do anything. Okay, mind you, you did not do anything. An individual who suffers bodily injury, even if it's their fault, listen carefully, people, or damage to the individual's property, even if they fell on it, because remember, you were found innocent. As a result, a hate crime may bring a civil cause of action against the person who commits the offense to secure an injunction. Actual damages, including damages for the emotional distress.
Oh my God.
Or other appropriate relief. A plaintiff who prevails in a civil action brought under this section may recover both of the following: damages in the amount of 3 times the actual damages described in the subsection, or $25,000, whichever is greater.
Jesus, do you
Not
understand?
whichever is small, whichever is the most.
Does
Reasonable
anybody have
attorney fees and costs, as used in this section. Gender identity or expression means having, or this is where they don't want to tell you it's pronouns, but it is. Gender identity or expression means having or being perceived as having a gender-related self-identity or expression, whether or not associated with an individual's assigned sex at birth.
Now, does that apply when they call us cis?
No.
Of course. I mean, yeah, that's where I was going. It's not going to apply to us. It's not going to apply to anything conservative, like Coy said. This is to protect leftists. So conservatives can be out here protesting in Michigan peacefully, minding their business. These crazy leftists, these progressives, can pretty much say, I'm intimidated, I'm offended by their poster. You know what I mean? So this is just some dangerous stuff right here, because now it really attacks the First Amendment big time, and it's going to be mainly people on the right that it affects. It's not going to affect leftists because they're a bunch of soy boys anyway.
No, here was the other thing that I wanted to point out is, like, do you realize how insane the civil lawsuits are going to be for that? It's like, you think ambulance chases are bad. Wait until we're doing pronoun chasing.
Yep.
Like that. That's going to be an insane thing. That's why I was like,
what is ambulance chasing?
It's when somebody claims they're hurt, like, so, my neck, okay. You know, those guys, right? It's just going to be, he hurt me. He hurt me with a word. You know?
I know what the sound that ambulance makes too. He, her, he, her, he, her, he, her.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you see this guy out. You see this guy jump out in stilettos. He goes, "Is everybody okay? Is everybody okay?"
Exactly. So
you need mouth to mouth, mister. You need mouth to mouth.
So it's going to be that, right?
Yeah.
Because
like that whole section is nothing but problems waiting to happen.
Oh, here's the description of that section. You ready, guys? This is where it gets really good. Intimidate means, okay, no. Let me bring that right back down real quick. Coy, please find the definition of intimidate for me, please. Before I go any further with their bill of the word intimidate, I want to hear what intimidate means. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know words that well.
To make timid, fill with fear, to coerce or deter with threats, right? But here, we should look up. But here's the problem. That's the English definition. We have to look up the legal definition of intimidation.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Bring it up on the screen.
All of it. I want to get all of it.
Okay, so bring it up on the screen so everybody can see.
As soon as you find it, I'll pop it up. This is good. Because you know what we have to do? We have to make sure that we're not lying on nobody. I don't want to be lying on nobody. Do you want to be lying? I don't want to be lying on nobody. Good. So let them dig their own grave. Oh, sorry. I mean, decide for themselves.
Yeah. Let them decide for themselves. Okay. So here's coming from Cornell University, what intimidation and legalese is. Right. As used in this section A, the term course of conduct means a series of acts over a period of time, however short, indicating a continuity of purpose. B, the term harassment means a serious act or course of conduct conducted directed at a specific person that causes substantial emotional distress in such a person and serves no legitimate purpose. The term immediate family member, as meaning given to the term in section 115, and includes grandchildren. The term intimidation means a serious act or course of conduct directed at a specific person that causes fear or apprehension in a person and serves no legitimate purpose.
Okay.
So there was a couple of different ones in there, but yeah, that's the one we're looking for right here. Is this definition?
Good. All right. So that's what they say. Let's see what these guys say. Intimidate means a willful course of conduct involving repeated or continuing harassment of another individual that would cause a reasonable individual to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened, and that actually causes the victim to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened. Intimidate does not include constitutionally protected activity or conduct that serves a legitimate purpose while passing a bill that violates the Constitution.
Right. Exactly. That serves no legitimate purpose. Yeah.
What? Okay, you're telling me that you value the Constitution, but
while violating the Constitution.
It has to have a legitimate purpose for us to honor it. It makes no sense. So who determines what a legitimate purpose is? You know, if you have a street preacher out there preaching, talking about the gospel in front of it. If you have a street preacher out there talking about the gospel in front of a Planned Parenthood clinic, that's protected speech. He's not harming no one, but under this, it's not legitimate. You know what I mean?
Do you have that video? Was it you that sent it to me with that kid getting arrested?
I put it in a group chat.
Right, bring that up. Bring this up because this is going to happen. Trust us, this is going to happen. If you read from certain books,
no, that's not the right one,
and people think that book is offensive and intimidating, you're the one that's going to get kicked out, even though these people could be doing, what's the best way to phrase this? Disgusting things. There are two videos, one with a guy asking, can I do this? And he had on a hat. And they said, as long as you don't have this, and then they showed the arrest. That's the one I want.
I'm looking for it.
That's the one I really want.
Give me a preview. Hang on.
If you can find it.
Let's see. All right, not that one. That's the one about a crazy parent talking about their child.
All right, while we're waiting for that, I got the definition of legitimate.
Okay. Go ahead and read that.
Legitimate has several legal meanings. When it is used as an adjective, it means lawful or right, or it can also refer to an individual of lawful percentage or lawful issue, meaning that they weren't born out of wedlock. In other words, the parents were married, and when the individual was born, we get that one, legitimate. When it's used as a verb, make.
There it is at the bottom.
Yeah, here. Let me go through this a little bit more, and I'll get the exact one.
Did you find that one yet, Mike?
I'm looking.
When you see this, this is not far off. Okay, it's been happening for a long time. It's not new. You will hear people like the BHIs on the street corner saying, "Kiss my boot," and "I'm gonna kill white babies," and they're fine. And then you'll see this little kid, not little, he's probably a teenager, late teens, simply talking into a microphone with a speaker, and then they call him out for noise ordinance, and reckless use of a speaker or some nonsense like that, and they arrest him on the spot. If you want to tell me to park my brain when I can blatantly see that what you're trying to do is isolate a certain amount of people because you don't like what they say, but still say you're trying to protect speech. I don't see how you can protect speech by censoring speech. There is no way for you to protect something by censoring it, because you're only allowing one group to say what they want, but not the other. That's not protection. That is what we would call favoritism of a group.
Mhm.
You're not protecting anything. You just prefer to have this one be able to say what they want, but not the other.
Yeah.
To the point of jail. Did you find it?
Yeah, this is, and this is in the context of here. Legitimacy is also a concept sometimes used in criminal law or in other areas of law. Specifically in this context, it is sometimes used to distinguish that the action may be legitimate but not legal, or vice versa. In simpler reasoning, law should be obeyed because they are the right thing to do, or rather are legitimate. Following this logic, sometimes the law is not the right thing to do, or rather is illegitimate. So that's what they mean by that, is what they see as being right. So that's the legal definition of legitimate.
I'm so in the private chat here, I have it. So
oh, you have it? I was looking. Yeah. I didn't see it. Was it under Twitter or TikTok?
Tick.
Oh, okay.
So somebody needs to bring it up. It's in the private chat there. Now listen carefully to what he asked the police if he can do. Listen to the police's response.
Oh, yeah.
And then the video splits, and listen to the next, watch the next section and see what happens. Now, caveat, I do understand it may not be the same officers. And just like with any other case, I know you probably want to test it on the same officers. But if you listen to what one officer says that's not lawful, and then see what the other officers say, it does not take a brain surgeon to understand that they have different criteria for what they consider right and wrong.
What they consider legitimate.
Yeah, use your common sense on this one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm about to pull it up.
You better pull up.
This whole thing is insane because it all comes down to perception, right? This whole bill is nothing but perception, what people perceive or what they determine to be a crime.
Officers, am I?
Come on.
Pink Floyd.
Why is it doing that? Don't share it yet.
Too late. It's already up.
Here, I'll bring it up for you.
I got it.
5, 4,
Go ahead.
3, 2. It's not up. 1. It's not here. I don't see it.
Hang on.
You got it? This grandpa.
Yeah, I have it because I'm listening to it.
This grandpa. You got to share it so we can see it. He looks like, doesn't he look like a grandpa trying to talk to his grandkids on Messenger? Hey, where's the button? Where's that button? I gotta find that button, granddaughter. Hold on.
This computer's acting up. This shit's
got a
old.
worse computer than mine. All right, here we go.
Officers, am I legally allowed to have my penis out today?
Do whatever you want.
Okay, so that's not against the law?
It's not against the law as long as you're not masturbating and you're not fully erect and it's not for sexual gratification.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Through love, serve one another. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another.
Hey, what are you doing?
What is the problem?
Wow.
You didn't give any warning. You just wrapped it up. This is the same one.
They said we can they said we can speak out here on the sidewalk free. Nobody told us that. How come there's no amplifications? You guys are acting like thugs, man.
So they arrest him, but not just arrest him, drag his hand behind his back, put him in cuffs, and lead him away.
And then charge him for resisting.
Now, remember, the other guy asked an officer if he can walk around with his privates exposed. One officer said, do what you want. No caveats of kids. The second officer says, as long as you're not self-pleasuring
Mm.
and you're not fully erect. Other than that, do what you want. Young man on the street corner speaking into a microphone, reading about loving one another. Draw the line right there. I'm just saying that this book that they wrote, that they call 4474, which is kind of like a small book, is not intended to make things fair. They want to make sure you understand your place. And they have an agenda. They don't want you stepping into that agenda and messing with it. So in order to do that, they have to protect this agenda. I don't recall free speech for Christians. I don't recall free speech for people who supported President Trump in 2016. I don't remember freedom of speech for people who are against the jibbity. But for some reason, if you want to walk around stark naked in front of children, that's fine. I can't say anything about it because if I do, that's what intimidation. Wow. All right. We've arrived.
And like I was saying earlier, it's just another bill to silence the right, because the right are the most people that are voicing our opinion the most about this stuff. We're the one voicing our opinion about gender ideology. We're out there. There's Christians out there preaching about abortion, gender, homosexuality, and all this stuff. So at the end of the day, they didn't put it in there, but you know who it's geared towards. They want to silence the opposition, and this is one way to do it. They want to silence the right. So, if they don't want us to say something, this is a quick way for them to get. No one wants to go to jail for voicing their opinion. That's some Minority Report stuff.
It'll get worse. It'll get worse.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan will only be the testing ground, and you'll see California follow. And when California follows, you'll see New York go next. And then from there, you'll see Baltimore. Trust me, everywhere is going to start doing it. That's blue first.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's going to start spilling into rhino territory. And none of the actual rhinos in the federal version of the government is going to do anything either.
No, it's not.
It's not going to happen.
Because
now, couldn't the Supreme Court step in if it's a violation of the Constitution?
Only after it gets to that point. Somebody has a lawsuit, and somebody has to have standing in order for that to actually matter. And that's the problem, is they can still charge people on this until it gets struck down by the Supreme Court.
Unless the people who are part of the bill writing it and didn't vote for it, step in and ask the Supreme Court to talk about it. They can take it there and make it a Supreme Court case, but they're not going to do that. We know that, right? Look, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They sat by and let the bill go through. They'll sit by and let it happen too. So I don't
look at what Whitmer did during COVID, right? Mandates. She just said, okay, fine. They struck that one down. I'll make a new one. And she did. It's the same thing. With this bill, it'd be the same thing. It's like, oh, well, that one didn't work. We'll just write a new one.
Didn't she do one with paint? You couldn't be painting your home or some nonsense like that. Did she? She put a stoppage on paint where you couldn't buy paint, because in painting you have to be outside your home painting.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, the left is probably all about this bill. The voters, until it affects them, because at some point it's going to affect them too.
Yeah,
it will. And then they're going to be like, oh, this is unconstitutional. Oh, now it's unconstitutional. Now you believe in what we were saying because it's affecting you now.
It's all fun and games until the riot gets to your house.
That's right.
Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, and that happened to a few people. They were like, oh, I support BLM. It's like, no, go away from my house.
Yep. Well, I thought they were a peaceful group, and I support them, and I can't believe they would do this to me.
Full of peace. Peace is
peace and love. The summer of love. That's what they called it when they burned black neighborhoods down. Great. I'm glad that it wasn't, like Black Wall Street's getting burned down. I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Same thing.
That's all.
Same thing.
Well, there's still a lot of death. I mean, there was 49 people that died during those riots. Yeah.
Hey, they don't care. It was peaceful, man. It was 93% peaceful.
Or the Chop and the Chaz. You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I had them here. They were in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how y'all dealt with that
And they were
stuff.
joyriding because they went in the wrong neighborhood and those leftists shot them with an AK-47 and nobody went to jail for that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Did you know that the one here had an entire block corded off, and at the end of each block they had what they considered gardens, right? Gardens.
I remember.
Now, do you know what they use for dirt?
Feces. Nasty mother flowers.
Not like compost, but just
dirty,
straight up dookie.
And I heard, from like people that were living in Washington, and they were like, the smell.
It was horrible.
Was crazy.
Riddle me this, Batman. Why haven't these people that took over literal blocks of an entire city not charged with insurrection?
They were okayed by the government.
Because like that's the biggest question. Like we're all looking at the Jan 6 people, like the J6 people. Is like, oh man, they did something bad. It's like, yeah, but these guys took over literal city blocks. They literally took over land of the United States government and firebombed federal courthouses. But they're like, nah, that's not an insurrection. That's just a riot. Oh no, wait. Protest.
We should talk like Biden the rest of the show. I got you that. That was me. I did that for you.
I passed the bill. 10 million. You'd be like, why are you whispering? That was me.
I didn't talk to my son.
And then he goes off and he starts waving his fists like that guy with the mustache.
Think about what you think about.
Think about it, man. People.
Yeah. So Friday. Yes.
What is this?
We give a reaction to Tucker's interview of Devin Archer.
Okay.
So because what he has to say is pretty crazy stuff.
Tucker on X. That's actually pretty cool.
They were running interference for what he said during his testimony on the Hill. And if you were we'll play it. Trust me, we'll play it. You should see the lawyer for Biden and what he looked like when they asked him certain questions. This man looked utterly and completely scared. Like,
oh no,
he did not want to be there. He was like this the whole time. What?
Sweating.
Oh my gosh, sauna.
Yeah, that's a death sentence for him. He knows. That's probably one of the main reasons they wanted him in prison so bad that Saturday. They wanted him to turn himself in because he would have got Epstein.
Right.
They would have killed him. He wouldn't have made it. They would have killed him in prison.
That's true.
Definitely.
They might still.
He's just gonna go paddleboarding out in the
Hey, the rumor is, the rumor is about that paddle boat situation is that Obama was with him during. Yeah, Obama was with him during the paddle boat. I'm thinking Obama tried to pull a fast on him, like, you look so sexy, and he was like, "Get off me, man."
I think he saw something.
Yep.
Yeah. Because like apparently Clinton also had a chef that ended up drowning too.
2015.
Yep.
Isn't it ironic?
They don't like the food, man.
That's
they don't like
suspicious.
the food.
Don't you think?
It's the food. They should get Michael to cook for him.
Yeah, you guys. Thanks for that plug. Make sure you guys follow the Bro Kitchen. I cooked some dope stuff. I made some Indian food. Your people, Marlon. Thanks for the plug, though. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Bro
look,
Kitchen.
if you ever hear Bro ends up cooking for either one of those two, I will say this. I'm on record saying this. Bro will not be the one that ends up going missing.
No.
I'm just telling you. If anything happens, it probably won't be against Bro. It'll probably be Bro doing something. So I'm just saying. So don't.
I'll take one for the team.
I'm not saying that he's a violent man.
No.
I'm just saying that he don't stand for no funny stuff.
I'm a peaceful guy. A peaceful guy that knows violent stuff.
That's what I'm saying. To be peaceful, to be peaceful, you have to be violent.
Yeah, you have to know violence.
Yes, because violent people are what can be peaceful. You can only be peaceful after having known what violence is. But when you don't know what violence is, you can't call yourself peaceful. You're just weak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But you know what is ironic about this Archer, since we brought it up real fast? There's like the minute something, and talk about it all the indictments that are going on. Every time they come up with something new. Oh, yeah, Hunter Biden didn't get his plea deal. Oh, Trump, there's another indictment. Oh, Archer's going to court. Oh, we got him for Jan 6 indictment. So it's like it's this chronological order of every time something comes up about the Bidens and that family or anything dealing with them, Trump.
There's always a Trump indictment.
Yeah, there's always Trump. No, he's going to prison for 500 years. Man, ain't nobody gonna live 500 years. That's stupid.
They trumped it up.
Yeah, they're trying to put him in for life. That's exactly what it is. But the thing
they
is,
said he can get the death penalty.
No.
No,
that's
I mean,
that's what's going around.
If you have to serve your time for 500 and some odd years, that's essentially a death sentence.
Yeah,
because it's a life in prison sentence for something that amounts to, like, here's the thing I've always been pissed off about the criminal justice system. If murder is the highest crime you can commit aside from treason, then why is anything able to equal the amount of time that you serve for murder? Right? Nothing in the system should equal the same amount in punishment, right? If it's 25 to life for murder, then that should be the standard. Everything else needs to be below 25 or not at all.
That's right.
Because like that's it. Man, I'm sorry. Like, if murder is the worst thing you can do.
But here's the Trump, if you're listening, Don Jr., Trump family, if Trump goes to prison, we're going to break him out like they did El Chapo. We're going to dig under the president. Come on, Trump. We're going to get you out of there. Don't worry about it.
Michael, come to the door.
No habla inglés.
The problem is
no habla inglés.
And to burning the country down without actually doing it. Because if they send him to prison, that opens the doors for way too many people. And that'll scare everybody in office. Because if they send a former sitting president to jail, that means nobody's protected anymore. Not a single person. All it will take is one DA in a state to go, you know what? F the Clintons.
Yep.
Because they've already set the standard. Because he can't go to jail. Like, they can indict him because his indictment's just an accusation, right?
Yeah.
If they conviction and they send him to jail, that's game over for everybody.
Yep, because he's gonna spill the beans because he's holding on to information. So if they do send him, he's gonna be like, okay, you want to send me to jail? Okay. I'm gonna tell everything because they're gonna be interviewing me in prison, and I'm gonna tell it all.
I'm gonna tell everybody this is your song.
You will see Obama and Bush leave the country if he gets indicted, and not indicted but sentenced.
I don't think so, because they know they have the system by the balls.
That's true.
They can only use that for so long until because they've already burnt. If they send him to jail, they burnt the system down. It is now free for all.
No, I'm telling you, it's not the case. Okay, look this. How many people go after hitmen? Nobody, because you're gonna get hit first. I'm not going after a kingpin drug lord. That's how you get killed. Look,
it's not
anybody try going after Clinton, you're gonna be dead long before.
Oh yeah, yep,
long before.
But it's the point if they can't keep up the illusion of control if they don't. That's the problem.
They don't need the illusion no more. When was the last time you see them cared about hiding anything?
But at that point, they become an illegitimate government. And what we were talking about,
they're already illegitimate.
It'll only be illegitimate if the people aren't controlled. If the people are controlled to the point to where our voice doesn't matter, just like Jan 6. So if they get down to that point, they can be illegitimate as they want to be. If the people are to the point to where they don't allow us to do anything without repercussions,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they can run amok. They can. Well, the people can't do nothing.
It will be the spark that sends everything over, right? Because right now you can look at this as the end stage of the Republic. This is the Praetorian Guard deciding who gets to be emperor, right? That's where we're at right now. Like, people want to say, oh, it's the end of the Republic. No, we already passed the Republic when Kennedy got assassinated, right? That was the end of the Republic. We've been in the Empire since then. When Allen Dulles had Kennedy killed, we were in the Empire stage of America, right? Empire building. That's where we are. And now it's the Praetorian Guard, which is the FBI, the deep state, all these people, the administrative state is running the show and deciding who gets to be president.
That's right.
So, like, if they lose that ability to keep people in check, including the people, and they already feel that, it's going to be a powder keg if he goes to jail. They cannot let him go to jail. They can charge him. They can accuse him. They can do all these things. They can't kill him, but they also can't charge him and put him in prison.
Look, I don't put nothing past the people no more. I'll tell you that much.
No.
I have long since put anything past the current regime. Look, if Biden can kill his own family to get where he's going, he'll kill anybody, bro. Come on now.
And these are the type of people. I'm not even lying. I'm dead serious with this. These are the type of people that will go in their little bunkers, which exist, and nuke their own country to prove a point. They're power hungry, man. They will go in those bunkers. There's no other reason for them to be built. They all say, "Oh, we're taking a vacation, a camping trip," and they go in their bunkers and they'll nuke a state or a couple states and blame it on Russia and come back out as the victors. Once they do something like that, the people are going to be so terrified and so distraught that they're going to listen to exactly what they say. And then they got us by the cojones, man. They're like, "Oh, well, without us, you wouldn't have water, clean water. The water's without us, you wouldn't have food. You must comply." And people are going to do it. People are going to toe the line because a lot of Americans are weak. And I posted something on TikTok earlier. I said there's two types of Americans, right? And people have to understand there's two types of Americans in this country. One are the Americans that love the corporation or the empire. Two are the Americans that believe in the republic. We're not the same. We are not the same. So this whole us American people, no. There's two different Americas here. Just understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out, but I'm not hopeful.
We're looking at the Second American Civil War and World War III at the same time. And that's what once NATO gets involved like fully into Europe and Africa goes up into flames, right? Because that's what we're looking at right now, then it's going to destabilize everything. And America's not going to, like, those two Americas are going to go at it. That's going to be who's fighting for power.
The only end.
America needs or Africa needs some democracy.
That's what we're already talking about.
They need some guns.
They need democracy.
Man, look, it's a powder keg of events going on, and it's a melting pot for sure. But I think Friday we will definitely talk about that interview. We'll listen to it. At least most of it. I think it's a fairly long interview too. I think it's about 15-20 minutes long.
We'll just commentate through it.
We may not be able to go all the way through it, but we'll spot hop because you can get the gist of most things they're saying. And then Saturday we have our Rumble event, starting at 6 p.m. as opposed to 6:30. Give some more time. So 6 o'clock Saturday on Rumble. You don't want to miss it. It'll be good. It'll be really good. If you have not subscribed to the Savage Patriots on YouTube yet, please do so. For those of you on Fair Media, if you have not subscribed, the link is in the comment section. Please click on it. Give us a follow. Start sharing our stuff. Get the word out there. We want to be the #1 podcast for political takes. The rest are shills. We know that. They get paid from one side or the other, and we don't get paid for either side. We'll light both of them up like a candle on both ends and not worry about it. Just drop it when it gets to the wick.
And hey, also make sure you guys, we have a Twitter channel now, our Twitter page. So we're trying to build it. So let's get you guys all same thing. The Savage Patriots on Twitter. Also, we have one also. We'll talk about that Sunday, but the Savage Patriots on Twitter. We're trying to build that page up. So if you guys can just put the word out, help us out. Let's get that page going because, you know, Twitter is fire ever since Elon, or X is fire ever since Elon took over.
We need to at least get to 500 because that's the number for
the threshold.
Yeah,
that's what we need. So we'll see you guys on Friday for the Devin Archer, and then Saturday for the Rumble event. Please also make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Click that notification bell for all notifications that we need to send you, and catch the lives every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. Until next time, people, be safe. This is a Savage Patriot signing out.
War.
Peace.